In what ways is Charlie passive?
Because he doesn't really participate in school. He's kind of a wallflower. Doesn't really go find friends and tell people how he feels.
How does it affect his relationship with family and friends?
Well, his parents and his sister don't really understand him and what happened to him. He never really speaks up and he kind of thinks if he does, he'll kind of ruin how happy everyone else is. And so he's kind of shy and doesn't really share his emotions when he really, really, really likes Emma Watson's character.
Why is this a struggle for Charlie?
Because as a teen, it's like a tough time, and you don't really think straight and rationally, and you kind of feel alone a lot of the time, and like no one understands you. And most of the time, when you feel like that, you don't really want to participate in anything, and then you start kind of getting left out and behind, and then yeah.
What does Charlie do to overcome it?
He tries to make friends, and he eventually does with the group that kind of call themselves the Wallflowers, who involves two of the characters that eventually become his best friends. And he decides, and they hang out a lot, and becomes more involved with school and stuff like that. And he actually goes to a couple of their parties, and eventually once plays the main role of Rocky in the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Do you think many teenagers struggle with apathy?
I think they do. They struggle a lot with it, and especially on a daily basis, because teens don't really think they have to participate in everything to get the most out of life.
So what do you struggle with about being proactive in your life, and how do you try and overcome it?
Well, I struggle to stay proactive about my marks in school and overcome getting a bad mark. I find it hard to overcome this because when I get a bad mark, it keeps me down, and I'm constantly remembering that bad mark. Like in social, English, blah, blah, whatever it is. When I try to overcome this, I try and learn from my mistakes and just move forward from the mark. But it is still freaking hard to move on from that bad mark. Because, you know, like, when you have, like, your parents, and you get, like, a 50% or something, they're not very happy with you. And so it's like, you want to do better for them, also for you.
Alright, what about you? What do you struggle to stay proactive about?
I struggle sometimes with defining myself as a person and surrounding myself with people who I find have the same personality as myself. It's not always easy to be surrounded, and it's not easy to find people who are the same as you in school nowadays. It's also hard to find good friends nowadays who will support you through whatever struggles you have in life. And like for Tristan, example, he's one of my good friends, and he always helps me through struggles in life, even though sometimes we argue about basically anything. And this results in us staying close, and that's about it.
So what do you struggle about being proactive with in your life?
I struggle to keep my life at home, stresses with family, and the life at school with stress from friends separate. They're completely different situations, yet they are constantly clashing. If I were to have a bad morning before school, I tend to have a bad day at school, and it turns into a snowball effect. When I try to overcome the struggle of keeping problems from both parts of my life, I try to just forget about what happens at home or what happened at school, and just focus on what I'm doing in that specific moment, which is easier said than done.